Parnick, why don't you come talk about all the good work that y'all are doing with networking groups to help business?
And it wasn't because I was in trouble with the law that I got Joe all in business. Clarify that. I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here today. And when Joe first asked me to speak, Tina asked, don't you have enough on your plate? And I'm reminded there are 4 people in this world that I've made a commitment that if they asked me to do something, if I had the time to do it, I would do so. Joe, Paul Battles, Commissioner Brown, and Matthew Gamble. So Joe asked, and so I'm here. I spoke to Joe the other day, and I told him, I said, you know that things are going good, so just wait. So they're going to come out of the woodwork at you, and we have our critics in our community. And I just want to take a minute and just share just a little bit with you, if I may. I can go back personally almost 34 years ago when I opened my funeral home in Cartersville, and I don't believe I ever said this publicly. But a fellow came up the first day I was remodeling, and he said this to me. He said, you better get yourself on back to Rome, because you ain't going to make it. And I thought about that, and that's been a great motivator to me. So, Joe, I would just encourage you in this chamber that the critics that are out there, they should be a great motivator to all of us. I'm reminded also when we built the chamber building, I see Scott Hankins, and Scott and Joe and I served in the middle 90s. We hired a company from Atlanta to come and tell us how we should go about building a new chamber building. First words out of their mouth after they did the research was, you can't build it. You don't have the money, you don't have the resources, you won't have the backing in the community. I like stuff like that, I'll be honest with you. You tell me I can't do something and I'm all in. I'm also reminded Commissioner Brown of the conference center. People told us, you can't build a conference center, nobody's going to come. And the way I understand it, I mean, the first 2 months it was in the red, but since then it's been in the black. It's made money, but there are naysayers out there. And I'm reminded of a quote by Teddy Roosevelt, and I've got to read it. I don't like to read stuff, but I've got to read this one. And it says, it's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out. Gets me every time. Not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error or shortcoming, but who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself for worthy cause, who at the best knows, in the end, the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who knew neither victory nor defeat. You know, there are those who say it won't make a difference ringing a bell. What good will it do to ring a bell? What good is it to have a band at a football game? What good is it to sing hymns before a preacher gets up to preach? What good is it on Sunday mornings to ring bells, inviting people to church? What good was it, Joe, on those rare occasions when Georgia won in the past year, that they rung the bell? What good did it do to ring the bells after the end of World War I and World War II? What good was it for Joshua and the children of Israel to march 6 times around the city of Jericho with nothing but ram's horns, and the 7th time they all shouted and the walls came tumbling down? You know, there is a significance to me in ringing this bell, because it will be a reminder that we who are out here and trying to help our community, it'll just be one more little bit of enthusiasm. So when the critics come up to us and say, it's not working, it's not working, there's only been 150 new jobs, it's not working, there's only been 300 new jobs, Joe, it's not working, there's only been 500 new jobs, it's not working because there's only been 2,000 new jobs, and they're going to keep on. We're going to have our critics, and I would encourage you to stay the course and stay fast in what you want to do. I want to share just a couple of things with you before I close. I have something in my hand very near and dear to me. is the Charter, Constitution, and Bylaws of the Cartersville Chamber of Commerce dated April the 1st, 1891. I bought this out of the trunk of a guy's car almost 30 years ago, never knowing what it would hold to that day. There's a couple things that are in there that I think are important for us to remember. And I made a copy of it. The object of this organization shall be to foster and promote an honest, active, and enterprising commerce, to watch over and protect the interest of the trading community of Bartow County, and to assemble a general meeting of the business persons, said men, but we'll say persons, of the city of Cartersville in all emergencies wherein their right or interest may be affected. To me, foreclosures, businesses closing, people without jobs, I believe it's the right and the responsibility of this chamber to bring the people of Bartow County together so that we can do it. And if the mere symbolic gesture of ringing a bell has something to help, then I think we should do it. Tina and I had the privilege of going to Israel recently. I hold a rock from the Valley of Elah, where David slew Goliath. I also have a small one in my pocket I carry on a regular basis. I can't carry this one. So I would say the rock that David used was somewhere between the small one and the big one to slay Goliath. And this unemployment thing is like a Goliath to me. And each one of us, I hate to say it, admit it myself, we're all a little Goliaths in this, because we go out and shop elsewhere. We buy elsewhere. We hire elsewhere. But we got good people here in Cartersville and Bartow County. So I would encourage you, don't be a Goliath. If you have a chance to shop, buy here in Bartow County, a lot of small business owners, and I know and love, have had to close their business, and I want us to try and encourage that. I want to thank Scott when we had 2 openings at Shaw Hankins. And I said to him, let's try to look here in Cartersville and Bartow County, and he was fortunate enough to find Mike Murphy as COO and found someone else here in town to work. So Joe, in closing, I'm going to let you borrow my rock. Now when you hit 500 jobs, I'm coming and getting it. Okay? This is yours. You keep it in good shape. And remember, we're going to kill this Goliath here in Bartow County.
Well, okay, then his boss does it now. Yeah. You're good. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's hard. Hey, I'm gonna have to prepare. Good thing Steven works for you to fix that back.